Okay, it feels like you just get blasted out of here, out of this dimension. You're just like, boom, you're out, and you have no idea, you have no control, you have absolutely no what the fuck is happening. You're just in it. You're in it, and there's no way out. That's how DMT feels like, in short. All right, so this date that I went with this guy honestly makes up for all the times all you losers didn't ask me on a date, you know? I mean, it had been a hot minute since I'd been on a date, but okay. It's not part of my story, but, well, actually, yes. I'm going to tell you my little date story because it led to my DMT trip, which I think is really funny because it kind of like describes my life, because I always go with the flow of things. I'm like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm not much of a planner at all. Actually, like, I don't really like planning. Like, I enjoy having a general idea of what I'm going to do, but I'm not a huge planner. But anyways, so I was hanging out with this group of friends that I had met, and we hung out for like a couple weeks, and they were really cool, whatever, and we would like go out to get a slice of pizza like almost every night at this little corner. And the owner was like really cool, whatever, he was really nice. And so one night I go in there and he's like, so is that your boyfriend? And I'm like, no, we're just friends. And he's like, okay, let me have your number. And I'm like, no, I don't know, you know. So it didn't happen. And then like another night we go in for another slice of pizza, and like we finally exchanged numbers or whatever. And he's like, you know what, the pizza's on me, drinks on me. I'm like, and so I never responded to this person's text or whatever, but one day I'm like walking down the beach. Oh, and before this, like the entire week before this, like a few days before, I had been having so many synchronistic moments, like so much synchronicity everywhere. It was weird. Like, and I swear every license plate that I would see was like a triple number. I kept seeing like 444, 333, 222, and I'm like, I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is going to happen, you know? And so I'm walking, minding my own business, and I bump into the guy, and I'm like, shit, you know? And he's like, hey, never texted me back, but I would love to take you out on a date. And I'm like, I don't know. And it happened to be my last day in that town. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go on this date with this guy. And so we go on this date. We go out to dinner, and we like hit it off so well. Like, we swear, like it felt like we had met in a past life. It was really weird. It was weird, but it was really fun. And he started to share all of his experiences with like plant medicine ceremonies that he travels to Mexico to do, and like all these experiences with plant medicine that he's had and whatnot. And we're like watching videos on like plant medicine and all this stuff, and I told him it was my last day in town, and in that town, and he's like, well, I would really love to give you a gift, you know? And I'm like, okay. And so he's like, I have this hit of DMT I brought from Mexico, you know, I would really love for you to have it, you know, no pressure, whatever, but I think that you would really enjoy the experience and this and that. And whatever, gave it some thought, and I'm like, you know what, I feel kind of called to do it, so I did it. And so my experience with DMT. So I'm sitting in this hammock, and he loads a bowl, and DMT has this very distinct smell. Like, I swear I can still smell it. It is, I don't know how to describe it, but like just smelling it reminds me of the trip. And so I'm sitting on the hammock, and supposedly you're supposed to exhale everything you can, and you inhale for at least 5 to 10 seconds on your first hit, and you're supposed to hold it for like, a few seconds. And so I exhale, and as soon as he like lights it, like I was out. It was crazy. And so I'm inhaling, and I'm totally conscious of the fact that I'm trying to hold my breath for at least 10 seconds and hold the first hit in. And as soon as I smoked it, inhaled it, it felt like I just like zapped out of this dimension. Like I freaking stepped into a time traveling machine and just like booked it out of here, like I'm a head out. But it happens instantly. It's insane. So I couldn't see anything in this 3D dimension. Like I'm guessing that my eyes were closed, and so you have to be sitting down or laying down when you do this. And so I don't even know how to describe it. Honestly, it's such a different high than like psilocybin mushrooms or whatever kind of high. Well, not whatever kind of high, but okay, it's different than magic mushrooms, that's for sure. Because like the visuals, it's not like you could see this 3D reality and that everything is distorted. It's like, no, you're like literally in this different dimension, and you have absolutely no control of anything because you're just like sitting there and you're somewhere else, And as soon as I inhaled, I heard this sound. It was like music. It sounded like those healing sounds, What are those called? I don't know, but like the whole vibe of like everything was very like ancient and like very like ancient and like I don't know. And like you see like faces and stuff, but nothing was scary to me. It was just like I said, like ancientish, but overall I felt like I was trying to be shown something. Like I had this feeling, and so what I got out of it was it felt like my date, like the guy was my guide and he had chosen me. And so it was telling me, you have been chosen. You are here to guide people. You're here to guide people. You're here to guide people. And in that moment, I kind of had like this flashback of the time that I met the guy at the pizza place, because we had this like moment where we like kind of looked at each other, and he was kind of like, I've chosen you kind of thing, you know what I mean? It was so weird. And then I remember in that moment I was like nodding because I was coming down from the high, because DMT only lasts like, I don't know, less than a minute, And I took a couple hits. And what happened? Oh yeah, I remember I was coming out of it and I was like starting to nod. I was like, I understand. And so like when you have multiple experiences with like psychedelics, at least personally, there are moments that may feel like unpleasant, but if you've already been there, your mind has these moments where you're like, I've already been here. I've already learned this. It's okay. I've already learned this, And I kind of had a moment like that when I was in it. I was like, okay, I've already learned this. Like, I've been shown glimpses of this before. It was freaking weird, but yeah, it's intense. I mean, I'm not recommending anyone to go out there and do this and whatever, but I would say that you shouldn't do DMT if you've never like experienced psychedelics or any other plant medicine, because otherwise it's just so instant and so intense that you would just be so fucking confused coming out of it, like, okay, what is this world? Like, your entire life would be like, seem crazy, you know? Like, everything would be, I mean, more of an illusion than it already is. I mean, it would just be way too intense for someone who hasn't experienced, like, plant medicine. And so, yeah, overall, it's just like, there is no time, everything freezes, and you're just like zapped instantly. You're out of here, you're out, you're like in the freaking 8th dimension and something. And from the research I've done and stuff, stories that I've heard, some people experience, I mean, larger doses, of course, like having intense, like, ego deaths and stuff like that, which I've experienced with psilocybin mushrooms. So, I don't know, I was curious as to, like, if that makes a difference or something. But it was very interesting. Also, when I was coming out of it, I was holding this water that my friend handed me, and my hands were, like, shaking. And I looked down, and my hands looked like they were all, like, black, but I looked like I was made out of clay or like this video game. And then I saw one of his cats jump off the table, and the cat just seemed like this really weird creature, you know? Like, everything was so, like, everything is an illusion, is what it seemed like, you know? Which I suppose kind of is, like, who knows what is real, you know? This may all be an illusion, and yeah. That was an interesting date for sure. And what else happened? I guess that was like my main experience. Like, it feels like you're being shown something, and it's just so intense. You're in it. There's no way out, because it hits your body instantly as soon as you ingest it in whatever way, inhale or whatever. And yeah, if you have ever had experiences with DMT, I would love to hear about it. Please comment below, let me know what's up. And if you have not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Take a second to just subscribe, that'd be dope. All right, thank you so much for watching.